one? Do you have me now? That's now picking up on the monitor. I don't know how that happened. I've literally just tested the damn thing. That's a ridiculous start to a show. Fantastic. Okay, sorry guys. Thank you for sticking with me while we did that. Welcome everyone to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue, now with fully working audio. Our headlines today include Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking time off and what they're planning to do with that time. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga, both at SmackDown tonight. What is the plan for the bloodline going forwards? Roman Reigns' return schedule as well as The Rock's return schedule. We're talking why they're doing triple threats to establish who the next competitor is for Cody Rhodes. AJ Styles and his impending end to his career. We have Tony Khan breaching some pretty serious data regulations here in the UK, which is where he got the data that he was sharing. And we're going to talk a backstage divide appearing between Mercedes and the other women in AEW. Why Steve Austin turned down Triple H's offer. No, it was nothing to do with finance. And a few specifics on what's actually going on with Will Ospreay. For those that can't immediately tell, my throat is still not perfect. I still have a few issues when it comes to that, so I do apologise. I also have evidence of a leak continuing here, which has been blighting me for several months. Many of you are aware that I've spoken about a leak. There is evidence of it starting to come through the wall as well, so always fun. Thank you guys, appreciate that. That's lots of lovely confirmation that you can hear me. Always good to see. We already have 55 people here, but only the 26 likes so far. Please do remember when you join the chat to give us that thumbs up. Every thumbs up guarantees more viewers in this channel. And the more viewers we have in this channel, the more easily accessible I can get news, because I'll have the resources and the finance to spend more time and dedicate more time to doing so. So if you're able to, please remember to hit that thumbs up. It guarantees higher viewership, and just like that, we'll also guarantee more ad revenue and more news for all of you. So, before we get to anything that anyone's raised so far, I will catch up with the chat after our top piece of news, which is as regards Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch taking time off of WWE. I've reported on this previously, but I have more information now that Dave Meltzer has confirmed my report. A new source reached out, which is always nice to see. As regards Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, the intention seems to be that they will take a month or two out now, which will mean that their contracts are extended beyond June into August. If their contracts are extended into August, they'll be able to work SummerSlam, meaning that the WWE, even if Becky and Seth decide to leave the company, do have access to two of their biggest names in history for one of their biggest shows in history, that of course being SummerSlam. Seth Rollins genuinely has a pretty serious knee injury. He's been getting banged up on the regular for a while now, and he just needs time to rest that up. As regards Becky Lynch, she has a book to promote, and of course this started during WrestleMania, so she's able to promote that by taking a little bit of time off to go on a tour and get the word out. Meanwhile, for Seth Rollins, he just needs some time to rest, to sit down, and to not have to put so much strain on his knee. Both of these are still actively looking to re-sign with the WWE, but there are many steps to get there that have not yet been met. The actual negotiations haven't officially started in that a bid hasn't been made, but during the time off, the WWE plan to start these negotiations and to get these things over the line. It is a break, it is a rest. It is also, in general, a good idea to look after your people, and I do feel that that, if anything, is what Triple H is doing here. Thank you, Martin, for renewing your membership for what is now an 18th month. That is a long time and shows how long you have been here supporting. Thank you very kindly, sir. I'm going to catch up with the chat before our second piece of news, which is as regards Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga both being at SmackDown tonight. Bailey says, hello, Tom. Spiderboss says, hello, Tom. I think both Becky and Seth will stay in WWE. I wouldn't be surprised to see it. The offers that they're going to get are going to be good. The WWE just need to hurry up and give the offers. Also says, Meltzer's lies never stop. Now Meltzer claims that AEW Dynamite there were FCM Punk chants. There are certain people who cannot be trusted to share information on certain people. Dave Meltzer's record on CM Punk is abysmal. Let's just leave it. Spider-Boss says Mercedes money getting ambushed on Dynamite is kayfabe, right? If it wasn't kayfabe, they wouldn't show it on screen, would they? Wiggly, thank you kindly. Firstly, welcome, and also thank you very much for renewing for a 31st month of subscription on the Twitch side. Thank you very much for that. Jason says, happy Friday, chat and Tom. Hope you're all doing well. Dylan says, hi, Tom, also. Oh, lovely. Michael says, hi, Tom, too. Welcome, everyone. Sean says, what's next for Jade Cargill? I reported on this on Monday. Spoiler warning, squashes primarily. As we, in fact, saw during Monday Night Raw, that report was confirmed pretty quickly when she squashed Chelsea Green. They're just looking to boost her personal in-ring confidence, and the best way to do that is to get her in the ring. Thank you very much, Sovic, for renewing your channel membership for a 5th month. Lots of people are renewing their memberships today. It says to me everything I need to know about when you joined us and when you signed up. It is always an early in the month thing. We're doing very well when it comes to channel membership at the moment, and the channel is growing as a result of that. Also, fun fact, channel membership can be used to get a mortgage. Ad revenue cannot, because channel membership is considered income, whereas ad revenue is considered a one-time thing. Fun fact. Spider-Boss says, Tama, Tonga and Jacob Fatu on SmackDown. Cody will never be free of the bloodline. Chris says, Austin a McMahon guy. Yes, but also that's not the reason. Grayson says, afternoon, Tom. Afternoon, Grayson. Koo says, what was the reaction to Tony Khan putting out the footage on people backstage? Terrible. Utterly terrible. Nobody is happy with this situation. At all. Nobody is happy. Eric says, good evening, Tom. How you doing? Doing okay, apart from the obvious throat issue. Pardon me. I think I pushed my voice too hard, and I might spend the entire weekend saying nothing. Andrew says, hi, Tom. Hope you're still well. Recovering from a sore throat. Yes, I can hear you. Also, Bloodline is going to unleash the beast in Jacob Fatu. I would love Tama, Tonga, Cody reunion during Bullet Club days. Leon says, hi, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Doing very well. Thank you, Leon. Dylan says, perhaps you can shed light on this. Dave Meltzer has said the plan is for Rock and Cody and many 4-2-1, which I don't believe because they are clearly building towards Roman and Rock. Dave Meltzer is reading that based on the section on the beginning of Monday Night Raw when Rock and Cody were in the same ring. He hasn't yet seen Roman and Rock in the same ring, so he's not really responding to that. Joey says, saw people think Motor City Machine Guns might show up tonight since they're in Detroit. That doesn't mean anything. Q says, well, I've already read that one. Edward says, with Triple H trending towards smaller PLE cards, will there be more world and women's title matches on TV instead? Yes, in fact, there already are. Typically, we get a similar amount of title matches under Triple H as we did against Vince McMahon. They just happen more often on a Raw and on a SmackDown. What he likes to do is have a Raw or SmackDown end with a title match, which is why he's got the Women's Tag Team Championships, the Women's Championships, the Mid-Card titles, and the Tag Team titles. You can rotate championship matches between the four of them and make things happen. Hector says PWTorch's Wade Keller has reported that Tony Khan was the only one in favour of showing the All In footage. That seems like a move Vince would make, which isn't a good thing. Agreed, and I can confirm that. Joey says, what was the reason Nick Khan made changes to the talent relations department? The reason is quite in-depth and quite expansive. I won't go into too much detail. Most of you will already know a little bit about this based on the show on Monday. But some changes were necessary in talent relations. A large part of that is changes to the culture of WWE and removing anyone who had anything to do with what came before. Now, I cannot say that the people who've been let go have been let go because of that, but it is related to changing the culture, and a large part of this is change your look, change your shirt. Steve says, never got your thoughts on WrestleMania. I was there night 2. Incredible cameo sequence. Almost wet myself. I can't blame you. They really knew what they were doing there. They really did. Martin says, evening. Welcome, Martin. Joey says, could TK be in for a lawsuit? More on that later. Roger says, have you read Becky's book? Not as of yet. No. I'm planning to. I just haven't got around to it yet. I'm not spending any money right now because I have a house to buy. And I'm saving as much as I possibly can. I'm eating as little as I can. And I'm essentially asking you guys, if you do donate, to spend money towards my house fund. So I'm not spending frivolously right now. Which is why I only had Cherry Coke for WrestleMania. It's why I haven't had it any other time for a long time. We have 84 people watching and only the 39 likes. One more gets us to 40. Can you be the one? I want to send a couple of thank yous. Pete on the Twitch side has subscribed for a 4th month on Prime, just says, yay, good, which I like. Optimism, always love it. We also have Jay Michelle, who has joined as a channel supporter. Thank you kindly, Jay Michelle. I appreciate you. Every channel membership comes with several behind-the-scenes videos in the members-only section. There is not too many at the moment, but they're building up over time, including the last one, which is me creating or attempting to make a viral short, which did not quite work out, as to how to be The Rock. And can I just say, my children are laughing at me every day for that one. Thank you very kindly, guys. I appreciate you. One says, Mercedes money having backstage problems already. Can it get any worse Can it get any worse, Tom? It can. It absolutely can. Dylan says, Tom, remember a while back you said WWE have lost faith with Jey Uso. I'm just wondering, is that no longer a thing given the amount of his booking lately? No, I don't think so. You don't want to be the person who challenges the champion the week after WrestleMania. It's not a good look. Joey says, are we going to see a new bloodline while Roman is gone? More on that shortly. Sean says, what's next for Jade Cargill and Damage Control? I have shared that information previously as regards Jade Cargill. As regards Damage Control, we will find out tonight. Selvik says, hello Tom, hope you're doing well. I want to ask any update on Motor City Machine Guns. Not at this point in time. That is simply not a connection that I have. Wiggly, you're absolutely right. Also says, Tom, be honest, have AEW shot themselves in the foot with the footage thing? Yeah, but they do that pretty regularly, unfortunately. Tony Khan has shot himself in the foot. I cannot sit here and blame AEW itself. There's a lot of very talented people trying to do very good things there, slightly undermined by their boss doing, this. No, Zane, I've not met Dave Meltzer, but I've not allowed him to get away with things, and as such, I'm blocked on Twitter. Smartaboss says Charlotte Flair would make Jade Cargill look like a star. I think Jade Cargill will make Jade Cargill look like a star personally. Joey says SC Scoops reported Hook may be exploring free agency this year. Have you heard anything on it? I can confirm that Hook's contract is coming up to the end soon. As regards the possibility of WWE being interested, that is not information that I have or should share, because it opens up the possibility of a lawsuit for tampering. Edward, thank you very kindly. A very generous donation. Apparently your third super chat, which is something that pops up. There's a Let's Celebrate button. I don't know what it does. I'm going to click it. It gives me the option to put you in timeout, which I'm not going to do, obviously. It says, I remember you saying last October the plan for WrestleMania was Io versus Bayley, and I'm glad they stuck with it. Appreciate your work. Thank you very much, Edward. I'm very proud of what I've been able to create here and the information that I've been able to share. Everything as regards Bayley, Damage Control, and Io Sky, since June, I've accurately reported, giving breadcrumbs to avoid too many spoilers. I'm very proud of that and very happy with what we've been able to make happen. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're happy about it as well, because honestly, that's balm to the soul. If you guys are happy with what I'm doing, then I'm clearly doing something right. Sean says, who faces Kabuki Warriors for the tag titles? Wouldn't tell you at this point. They're still rebuilding it. Martin says, down Bo and the teasers. Yes, Bo Dallas will be returning to the WWE shortly. They're building a narrative at the moment. We'll see teasers and stuff over the next few weeks. Chris says, any news on how WWE reacted to the CM Punk footage? Can't help but feel like they laughed. Yeah, CM Punk watched AEW with a number of different people. He ensured that it was all on one TV screen because he didn't want to give him the ratings boost. And he had a good laugh watching himself choke a guy out. JMG Gillis, I have no idea about Motor City Machine Guns. Sean says, does Roman turn face when he returns? I find it unlikely. My personal suspicion is that he'll return at SummerSlam after Cody successfully defends the championship and look for a rematch. Wiggly says, I don't understand why the footage was aired. What was the reason? It makes no sense. Right. The reason is quite simple. Tony Khan wanted to. If he thought it would pop a rating, he was wrong. If he thought it would change minds, he was wrong. I think he was wrong is going to be the key phrase going forwards. Happy Friday, Daniel. Welcome to the show. Smartaboss says, Tony Schiavone looked embarrassed when the All In footage aired on Dynamite. Will says, for what you know, have you heard when the NXT Asia may be happening? Soon. Michael says, I thought they intertwined the footage with the Bucks FTR feud very well. That part, yes. The issue was, personally, I don't think they should have shown that footage, and they will fall foul, as we will talk later. Gold Mercedes Money is a proven draw. She is a proven draw. That is a fact. Okay? As regards helping AEW, we're starting to get to a point where they need to change fundamentally in order to help themselves. Spider-Boss says, I think AEW using the AEW All In footage was well done for put more fuel on the FTR versus Bucks rivalry. JMD says, who do you think is Bayley's first feud that will be established tonight? Andrew says, I might have to buy a Cody Rhodes Bullet Club shirt because the only wrestling shirt I don't own is a Bullet Club one. I'm a Bullet Club guy, what can I say? Juanito says, sub Tom, welcome mate. And Andrew Quinn says, I think Tony Khan and AEW have embarrassed themselves with footage, which could backfire with the roster. Talents maybe want to leave in the next few months. Talents already want to leave, but it's not in any way all of them. I'd say about 20% of people there are looking at their options in future. But that's not unusual. A lot of people in WWE are doing the same. Razar says, how come they haven't announced the WrestleMania 41 location yet? They always do it during WrestleMania, usually. Because it's not all locked in yet. And this is a fun thing. We've seen it reported everywhere, but the WWE are not 100% confident. There's a lot of red tape still to go for, apparently. Sean says, who wins the NXT women's belt, or does anyone get drafted to NXT? There'll be plenty of people drafted to NXT. As regards the championship, at the moment, it's still Roxanne. I do not expect that to maintain. King Az says, Tom, I want to see Cody versus The Rock at 41 and Roman versus The Rock at 42. You might get your wish, man. Spider-Boss says, do you know when we could see Christian Cage back on TV? He's having a break now. He's having a break. Well deserved. Dylan says, when at the latest could we expect Punk versus McIntyre at SummerSlam or some other summer pay-per-view? Latest, we could expect it never to happen and the both to basically be long gone and us all gone before it happens. That's what latest actually means. As regards the earliest, I would imagine it would be SummerSlam. SummerSlam is when I expect to see the match, but it does depend on CM Punk's recovery. Wiggly, I'm not doing a watch party later. Throat, in case you can't hear, is the main reason. But in addition to that, the watch parties were a WrestleMania weekend only thing. Or at least that was the plan. Sid says, when do you think we'll see CM Punk vs Drew McIntyre? SummerSlam. Alicia says, are there any plans to build up Jimmy Uso's character at all? More on that very shortly. KJ says, what's up, Tom? What's up, KJ? And David says, Tom, it was good to see Fightful confirm your report about Julia signing with WWE. Yeah, it's lovely when they name me and properly source the originator of the report, isn't it? Spider-Boss says, since WWE doesn't have any plans for Bianca and Naomi, why not put Bianca and Naomi as a tag team to beat Damage Control? That may be the plan, but they do have plans for Bianca and Naomi. They do have plans. WrestleMania's over, guys. New season, new plans. KJ says, did Fury and Waller ever get pulled from the Mania ladder match? Funnily enough, no. J. Michelle says, any news on what changes will be made in the draft? We're going to Raw in June. My son will be devastated if he doesn't get to see Cody. It is unlikely, unfortunately, that your son is going to be able to see Cody Rhodes. So we'll see how that goes. As regards the draft, my predictions will be coming out soon. At the moment, it's difficult to say. I'd be looking at, for example, a swap of Bayley and Rhea Ripley. There's a few other people who seem like obvious choices. I suspect the reason Gunter lost to Sami Zayn will have a lot to do with the draft as well. To get Gunter close to Cody, because I think that might be a big match in the days to come. Possibly a SummerSlam match. Who even knows? We'll have to wait and see on it. Wiggly says, was this AEW's Mick Foley butts in seats moment? No, that was a long time ago. Hector says, if the plan is to insert Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga into the bloodline, that's how you debut brand new talent that the WWE crowd may not be accustomed to, compared to just throwing them out there blindly. While we're on this one, let's get to my next piece of news, because I'm caught up enough with the chat to not lose my place. As we do, we have 98 people here and 48 likes, which means just less than half of you have hit that thumbs up button. If you're able to, please double check if you've hit the like button, because it makes a huge difference to the YouTube algorithm. It essentially trains YouTube to think that spoiler warning is this massive show. Even though like we have 100 people here, it's almost like there's 10,000, because everyone's talking, everyone's hitting like, and everyone's donating and all that jazz, everyone's subscribing, all that jazz. It teaches YouTube to funnel traffic to this channel. I know that I ask for it a lot now. I know that I ask for it every time, but it makes that big a difference. It really genuinely does. So please do hit like if you haven't already. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga are both planned for SmackDown tonight, but are not necessarily planned to be in front of camera. There are several concerns that the WWE, particularly Triple H, has when it comes to bringing new talent in and skipping NXT. The main one being, as I mentioned previously, there is a dedicated WWE style that must be followed. For example, if you're going to clothesline someone, you go like that. If you want to hit it, you do that. If you don't want to hit it, you do that. And then you go for them. That's how it works. There's a lot of other things as well, which involve communicating with who you're in the ring with without using any actual words, meaning that you can move a lot faster and a lot quicker, knowing that if they're going like that, you duck. If they're going like that, you take it. Stuff like that. Triple H wants to get Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga right there in front of him so he can start to work out what they know and what they don't know. However, the plan is for an evolution of the bloodline. Given that we have no Rock, no Roman Reigns, there will be a bit of a power struggle. Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa are now looking to lead the bloodline, even though Solo Sikoa has been dubbed the future tribal chief. There is suggestions that Paul Heyman will be working directly with a new version of the group, which could include Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga eventually. If someone appears during the show tonight, it means they've been given a crash course. Triple H does not believe they are ready to carry full programs. That's not a bad thing. He just thinks they'll need a little bit of time, and honestly, they probably will. So let's not judge too harshly on that one. Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga are both at SmackDown tonight. For Roman Reigns, his planned return is in and around SummerSlam time. As regards The Rock, he will be returning to the company in the fall, around September, October, but he may not wrestle during that period. There's a possibility of The Rock in War Games, but because he'll be on a filming schedule, he won't necessarily be on a workout and wrestling schedule, so he may need time to build back up to next year's WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer has confirmed that report already. Right. Chat. Chris says Tony Khan is making amateur moves. Literally anybody with basic knowledge of the business could have told him it's a bad idea. They did. They all did. That exact conversation has happened a lot with Tony Khan. Sean says, who do you think wins the NXT Women's North American Championship? I'd go with Tia Hale at the moment. She's the one with the storyline. Bailey says, Brandon Thurston raised an item today from Vince McMahon's TKO contract that he had a 12-month no-compete clause. The speculation followed that he then could get back in the industry after January 2025. Do you see any scenario where Vince would invest or buy into another wrestling company? I do, but as a silent partner, and I think it'll be a company that we haven't heard of yet. If we start to hear a lot about a particular company in January 2025, they've suddenly got a big investment. Mike says, Ospreay promo was a case of hit dogs always holler because Hunter said no names. To my knowledge, it wasn't a direct reference to Will Ospreay. There's a number of people he could have been referencing. One of the names mentioned to me is Jay White. Said, so they don't see all the fuss about All In Fortigate. It did not bother me whether they showed it or not. Joey says, do you know why the final testament was sent down to NXT? We discussed this on Monday. AOP are believed to need a little more honing, and they don't necessarily have the time on SmackDown, given where the main roster is headed, to do that. They need to give them more faster. Yes, there will be people drafted down to NXT, Joey. Gordy says, I'm on my way to SmackDown here in Detroit, but I just want to say, keep doing your thing as always, Tom. Thank you, Gordy. I appreciate that. That's a lovely thing to say. Sylvic says, via PWInsider, CM Punk is confirmed for both nights of the WWE draft. Indeed he is. I can confirm that CM Punk is going to be used pretty heavily going forwards, simply in a commentary, in a discussion role. He will be reading out some of the names. The WWE very excited for him to read out the name Drew McIntyre. Rizal says the fact that WWE currently will have Roman, Charlotte, Seth and Becky all out and still be stacked with star power is crazy. The roster is so stacked right now. That actually includes The Rock, who you've not mentioned as well. Spider-Boss says with people talking about AEW showing the All In footage, it took away the spotlight from WWE. Yeah, but it hasn't really. Zane says, what is the next WWE PLE? It is Backlash, it is in Paris, and it is at the beginning of next month, I believe, just after the draft. King Adler says, if Jacob Fatu debuts tonight, I would want to see a Roman versus Jacob Fatu match. You won't get that tonight. You might one day, but today's not the day. Spider-Boss says the challenge for WWE to keep the ratings up while Roman and The Rock take time off. It is and it isn't. There are enough people to keep you interested, and after all, they do still have Cody Rhodes. Oh, I'm okay. The GOAT says, much love and peace of mind, all you beautiful beings. Always nice to see. Thank you kindly. Spider-Boss says, Dominic Mysterio skipped NXT and WWE didn't worry so much about it. Yes, but he was also technically on the main roster but not wrestling for almost a year. He got the training. The Bloodline is a perfect fuel for Cody Rhodes. It'd be good to see Tama Tonga and Jacob Fatu ambushing Cody. Michael says, I think the doom and gloom that is the death of AEW every single day is so far blown out of proportion, which I think is absolutely accurate. I do think a few people need to sort of readjust their setting. The idea that any rating less than the WWE is a bad rating. It's not. This is a normal rating. Yes, they get less than 1 million. So what? It's still a decent rating. It's a hell of a lot better than TNA are getting, for example. Eddie says, I hope WrestleMania 42 is in Wembley to see Rock versus Roman. Any update on people want to get out from AEW after the footage? I've discussed this earlier. After the footage, it's not necessarily meant that people want out, but it's meant that a lot of people are unhappy. JJ says, hey Tom, so Becky's returning around SummerSlam. Well before SummerSlam. Well before SummerSlam. I imagine that's Nicholas. I can't fully read your name because of the characters. I do apologise, but that looks like a Nicholas, so I will say thank you very much for subscribing on the YouTube side, and do let me know if I've pronounced your name wrong in any way, shape or form. You'll get notifications whenever we go live, and when we launch one of our PLE Wednesday or WTF Wrestling videos. There has been no WTF Wrestling for a few weeks now as I build up to WrestleMania. They will be back soon. Dylan says, Tom, I'm patient, but the idea of doing Roman and Rock in 2026 when The Rock is nearly 60 is just, it's not going to be good. If next year, when The Rock is still healthy enough to do it, I'd do it next year. I agree. I suspect with The Rock, he realised during that match at WrestleMania that he wasn't as up for this as he thought he was. Hector says, Grayson Waller released a promo on Instagram earlier hyping up SmackDown where it mentioned the grind multiple times. The man knows what he is doing. Yes, he does. He knows his social media. Thank you, Dylan, for clarifying. May the 4th is Backlash, and may the 4th be with you. Spider-Boss says, WWE has done dumb things for years and they still stand tall. Yep, everyone does dumb things at times. Don't worry about it. I would point out that WWE did dumb things while there was no competition, though. Sid says, who do you want to see get called up to the main roster from NXT? Bron Breakker's way overdue. Way overdue. Roxanne is way overdue. Carmelo and Trick need to leave as well. They need to move up. Nikolaj says, will Seth leave forever? Eventually, yes. JJ says, since Becky's out, who will help the women's division? I know he said she plays a big part in it. Will it be Stephanie? As regards Stephanie McMahon, my report has been disputed by PWInsider, but I'll wait and see as to what more information comes out. As I mentioned previously, her role does involve talent relations, and that is a role that has been having some changes recently, so it was nice to see that. As regards the women's division, no one. The creative team are booking storylines there. Becky Lynch is not assisting at this point in time. Razar says, how big of a shake-up will the draft be? I really like the current rosters, how they are. Pretty substantial. I'd say about 30% of SmackDown move, about 30% of Raw move. So it'll feel very different. It'll feel like half and half, but we are where we are. Mick says, hey Tom, hope you're very good. Always good to see you and hear you. Welcome, Mick. Nice to see you, mate. And thank you, as always, for so constantly and with such high effort promoting the Tom Colohue brand and awareness of the Tom Colohue channel. I appreciate you and all your efforts. Spider-Boss says the All In footage didn't do any favour to Jack Perry. Yeah, he didn't look great while being attacked. Sean says, hi Tom. Welcome, Sean. Spider-Boss says, do you think WWE will keep Bron Breakker and Corbin as a tag team? Yes. Yes, I do. And Slovic says, would Cora Jade be called to the main roster? If they want her to, yes, she's ready for it. Luke says, more Uncle Howdy teasers tonight. More Bo Dallas teasers tonight. Sean says, according to a Becky fan, she's being advertised for April 22nd episode of Raw. Yeah, when Becky takes time off, she actually doesn't. It's the funniest thing. When she took time off after WrestleMania 35, which is something that I'd reported was going to be happening, she took a month off and then came back and announced that she was pregnant. In that month, she actually came in for a week to cut a promo and then left again. I don't know, she just loves it so much. Once after the video image was released, people were saying Poke of Doom, and I was like, AEW losing ratings regardless. When WCW did it, they were beating WWF, and after that Poke of Doom, they never won. They were not beating the WWF during the Poke of Doom. That was the end of ever beating them, but they weren't actively beating them at that time. King Arthur says, I think in the draft they need to separate the Judgment Day, in my opinion. A lot of that depends on if Finn Balor is signing a new deal. And Dylan says, will any faction division split during the draft? We do not have the rules and settings yet. Sean says, do you see Becky and Seth drafted? Absolutely, I do. Cody Rhodes will be the number 1 draft pick. I suspect Rhea Ripley will be the number 2 draft pick. With that in mind, I suspect it's going to be a situation where SmackDown picks first and second. Joey says, since Triple H wants to move away from the sports entertainment aspect, was that another reason for the talent relations changes? Nope, completely unrelated. Q43 says, do you know if Cora Jade was a name that would have got called up if not for the injury? Nope, I do not have that information. Jess says they need a major shift in the women's division in both shows, and they will be getting that. And Spider-Boss says the Raw women's division need new faces to have rivals for Rhea, or Rhea moves. Jalen says, which women do you think WWE will call back to NXT? No idea at this point. Graham, welcome, mate. Nice to see you. There's 115 people watching, but only 63 likes. Come on, press the like button. So let's do this. We have 114 people now. That's dropped. A person left. Do you know why a person left? Because YouTube has decided that this is not a rockin' show no more. That makes me upset. That makes me upset, guys. Please remember, if you haven't already, to hit the like button and jump in the chat and let me know your feelings whenever you would like to. Nikolai says, Seth is my favourite wrestler. Do you think he's going to come back? Yeah. Spider-Boss says the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour began. Liv versus Rhea at Backlash, maybe. It is being suggested, yes. That would also be like with either Liv or Rhea moving, because if they do it that quickly and haven't built to it, it means a move away. Luke says, you think he'll come back as Bo Dallas? Yes, but maybe not immediately, but yes. Crush misses Tweener. Finn Balor from NXT. Man says, smash those likes for Tom the Legend. It really helps grow the channel and community. Mick says, awesome for me, Tom, to be a part of all of that and your great work. Thank you for feeding me constantly. That's kind of accurate, I did imagine you as a Ryback figure for a moment, which I know, and I do apologise for it, but we are where we are. Hector says, I guess Jack Perry is living the gimmick, as he definitely seemed like a scapegoat after that All In footage, as his misfortune was used for a potential ratings boost. They are building towards his return. He will be returning soon. I've tweeted about this previously. During Sakura Genesis, I did tweet that Jack Perry is a time bomb, and he gon' blow. Spider-Ball says, if Rhea and Bayley swap brands, does that mean they swap titles? Nope. The titles are not brand specific anymore. Sean says, do you know what's happened to Drew Gulak? Fightful Select reported he's pulled from several appearances and isn't factored into any future creative plans. Yeah, that happened. Eric says, I think it's time for WWE to divorce Bianca Belair and Damage Control during the draft. I agree. And Kervin says, can you see WWE taking the draft serious this time? I don't want to see another SmackDown talent showing up on Raw. Triple H is not a big fan of having actual broken rosters. There will be some movement. Dylan says, would Netflix obtain the rights to WWE next year? Could WWE go back to TV 14, or are they going to keep a PG-13 for the sponsorships and merchandising? They'll do what they want. That's the only way I can really answer that. At this point in time, WWE will do what they want. Razar says, will the new WWE TV deals play a role in the draft? Which show will be considered the number one once Raw and SmackDown move to Netflix and USA? No. Netflix is the carrier for all WWE content outside of the US, so with that in mind, Netflix kind of want everyone. Arctic Arcade says, Mayu Iwatani follows Ogawa or debuts on Dynamite. We'll find out shortly. Chris says, Finn Balor turning on Damian Priest should happen eventually. The writing is definitely on the wall. Jalen asks for plans for picks for King and Queen of the Ring. He's going Gunter and Tiffany. I'd be interested to hear what people think of this. Who have you got for King and Queen of the Ring? Personally, I'm going towards Dakota Kai, and I'm going a little further down the card for the men. I'd go Dominic. Be funny. Heon says, do you think Becky goes to Raw or SmackDown in the draft if she returns from break? Not sure yet. It depends where Rhea Ripley goes, because she'll go on the other side. Michael says, I always find the whole thing of AEW doing something for ratings funny. Everyone who's ever made a TV show does it for ratings, which is fair. I mean, the entire Vince McMahon Stone Cold Steve Austin feud was for ratings. Eric says, I have a theory about Bo Dallas' return. If you're interested, by all means, drop it in chat, mate. And Spider-Boss says, isn't it a coincidence Drew Gulak disappeared from TV after Ronda Rousey called him out for inappropriate behaviour? No, it's not. Bailey suggests Ludwig Kaiser and Dakota Kai for King and Queen of the Ring. That's not the box I was trying to click on. Next piece of news is as regards tonight's triple threats. There are 2 triple threat matches lined up to determine the challenger for Cody Rhodes into Backlash. It will not, as we know, be Roman Reigns. So of the options available, the idea is here that we're supposed to be whetting the appetite and suggesting a number of people that Cody could wrestle for the next year. A lot of the results here will depend on the impending draft, because whoever he can't challenge going forwards because of the draft, he has to challenge now. So that does eliminate quite a few names. Kevin Owens moves with every single draft and then tends to move back during that period, so I suspect he won't be an option here. The WWE want the obvious heel to pick up the win. That will maintain Cody's babyface push. They're worried about splitting the love. So, for example, LA Knight seems unlikely to get the call-up for that championship match, and he will be staying on SmackDown anyway, by all accounts. That does only really leave two people, Santos Escobar and AJ Styles, and personally, I'd lean towards AJ Styles as the first challenger to Cody Rhodes. I'd be very excited for it. I think they could do very good things with it as an option, and I'm just looking to dive into that feud face first and literally just get it all over my face. That's what I want here. Jess says, Dom and Dakota are my picks as well. Ex-Con Dom turned into Kingdom. What an inspirational story. Brian says, Hook to WWE. Hook is currently under AEW contract, and as such, he has no options of going anywhere. Chris says, is Drew Gulak being released from his contract? Not to my knowledge. Sovik says, I feel Bron Breakker wins King of the Ring and Dakota Kai wins Queen of the Ring. Bron Breakker's a very good shout. Eric says they got Dominic Mysterio for King of the Ring and Asuka for Queen of the Ring. Spider-Boss has King of the Ring as Jey Uso. The other Mike says, do you think wrestling needs an off-season, like maybe a month or two? No. There's more than enough people in that roster that you can give people 3 months of break every single year. You don't need to have everyone on TV every single week. Sean says, according to Ring Rat Chronicle, a wrestling podcast that shares exclusive behind the scenes news, stated on April 10th that Becky and Seth re-signed at the beginning of the year. They didn't. They even said how long they signed for. They didn't. Not sure if they are accurate. They're not. I believe that answers your question there, Sean. That is 100% false information. King Arthur has Jey Uso and Io Sky. Spider-Boss has Queen of the Ring Jade Cargill, which is a very good shout. KJ has for the championship match Cody versus AJ. Dylan suggests Kofi Kingston and Dakota Kai. Crush also has AJ Styles for the match tonight. The other Mike says I have Ricochet and Tiffany as winners of King and Queen of the Ring. Good shouts for that one. Ricochet is a good shout as well, though he would of course be a prince rather than a king. Crush says Sheamus for King of the Ring. He has actually already won a King of the Ring to my knowledge. Kevin says so far Mercedes Money's booking on AEW is not good. She's just started, mate. I wouldn't be too worried just yet. Eric's fantasy booking says we have Liv, Rhea at Backlash. Great match. Rhea wins. Okay, this is important. Dom gives Leah 2 619s. He won't. I see you saying Bo returns because of it. That's not going to happen. Bo Dallas is not looking to be related or connected to Liv Morgan's character in any way, shape or form. Chris says, will Sheamus be drafted to the brand in which a certain title that's eluded him is? Probably. Eric says, have two, so Cody J and a debuting MJF help save them. It's always MJF for you guys. Brian says we could see Tama Tonga help AJ win. Could. Dylan says, there any updates on them getting rid of the Universal title, introducing a new belt for Cody? To my knowledge, there is no plan to have a new championship belt. That undisputed belt was created for Cody. As regards to Universal Championship, the lineage has ended. It just looks like they haven't updated it as of yet. The lineage of the Universal title has now ended. JJ says, do you think if they don't give Becky and Seth a Roman contract, they'll just leave? I don't know. That's up to them. Sean says, Ricochet for King, Alexa for Queen. Alexa, to my knowledge, is not ready to return just yet. Alex says, AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. Yes, please. Also, hi, Tom. Hello, Aled. Jess says, Dominic should be 619 and move out the one. Here we go. He's a fun one, guys. He's a fun one. And I need to respond to this, and you guys know it. So, Bobby Darren, welcome, says, you're taking the piss, asking people to pay for your new house. I'm not doing that. Now, that is something I want to address. I have asked nobody to pay for my new house. That's reality. I've asked absolutely no one to do it. In fact, nobody here has to donate anything. This is not a paywall. This is free. Everything I share here is free. I don't hide behind any paywalls. I don't demand money to share, oh, this is what's going to happen on Raw tonight because this guy said so. I don't accrue everything and then pay someone to give me stuff out of the trash for news. I'm not asking anyone to pay for my new house. I'm also being incredibly transparent about the fact that if they choose to donate, that's where it's going. I could hide that. I'm not going to. Now, if you're genuinely concerned, I appreciate you. I appreciate you raising it. If you're trying to be a troll, we're going to have a very different conversation. But, as I say, if you're genuinely concerned, that's okay. That's okay. Razar says, Bron Breakker and Jade Cargill for King and Queen of the Ring is my guess. Michael says, Mercedes ready to wrestle like in ring shape. Said herself that she's 100%, but she hasn't wrestled in a year, so she needs a time. Yeah, she got ring rust, basically. She hasn't wrestled in a long time. She is cleared, but there's still a build-up of fitness there. And because of the nature of her injury, until she was cleared, she couldn't really train, which makes it difficult to maintain that fitness. Chris says, Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre for the Intercontinental Championship at Mania 41. Unlikely, Drew McIntyre is not interested in the Intercontinental Championship. Jalen says, outlandish idea, but what if Liv Rhea do a double turn with Liv getting with Dominic? Why is everyone obsessed with Rhea Ripley doing a double turn with someone? I've heard a double turn about Rhea Ripley like 14 times in the last week. I can crush because I'm not checking DMs right now. Juan says, people are quick to blame TK for Mercedes Money's booking, but it's Jennifer Peppermint. It's also Mercedes Money and Tony Khan. Let's not rule out Tony Khan as a potential area of blame here. Spider-Boss says Triple H introduced Cody as WWE Undisputed Champion, didn't say Undisputed WWE Universal Champion. As I said, Roman Reigns defended the Undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Cody was not challenging for that championship. He was challenging for the Undisputed WWE Championship. Convoluted, but it's real. Steve says, do you expect a little absence for Gunter as well? I'd imagine he's the best fit to dethrone Cody next, but that will take some time. Quite possibly. I don't think we realise how intensive that guy's schedule is. You know? Crush says, Tom is a genuinely good person. Thank you, Crush. Appreciate you. He doesn't have to do what he does for us. Could easily just do paywalls like Fightful, but he cares about us and is the best source. Thank you, Crush. I appreciate you for saying that. Alex says, Cody's on SmackDown tonight. What do you think he does? Promos. And Chris says, Rhea Ripley doesn't need to turn face. Jess says, Rhea being cheered doesn't mean she automatically needs to do a double turn with someone. I don't know why people are obsessed with heel and face turns. Wrestling is fake, which is always a bad start. Says, where's the source? How is this difficult for people? It's my show. Literally says, with Tom Colohue, right there. Like, where's the source? You're looking at him. Some people just don't understand things. Michael says, some people on Twitter and some media personalities ruin wrestling altogether. I appreciate the not you in brackets there. I try my best to help excitement on wrestling, and that's why, even though spoiler warning, I don't just spoil everything. Sid wants Natalya to be Queen of the Ring. Gordy says, do you have any update on where Monday Night Raw will air temporarily when their deal with the USA Network ends in late September? I don't, and neither does the WWE. It's a very awkward time. Spider-Boss says people like SRS and Meltzer ruin pro wrestling with their clickbait and negativity. Marcel says, hi Tom and chat. How are you all doing? Well, Marcel, welcome to the show. Next piece of news is as regards the end of AJ Styles' career. We have 116 people watching, 71 likes. If you can, please remember to hit that thumbs up. And this is just for the guy who said, I can't make people pay for my house, which I'm not doing. Just a reminder to everyone, right now, any donations and ad revenue is going towards my new house. They will also go directly into upgrading the setup behind me, so hopefully I don't have leaks like this in the new place. So things like that are what I'll be working on. So please do be aware if you want to not donate during this period. That is certainly an option that you can take. Historically, all donations have gone back to the channel for a couple of months. That is not happening here. So I just want to be very transparent about that one. If you'd like to donate, you are of course very welcome to. If you'd like to become a channel member, there's an option for as little as $1 a month. And there's an option for $5 a month, depending on what you would like to donate regularly. But I appreciate anyone who watches an ad, who clicks like, who leaves something in the chat, or just generally watches one video a year. If you're a lurker, lurk. You belong here. Make it happen. So, next piece of news. Nope, need another one. AJ Styles' career is coming to an end, and I'm actually no longer just saying his WWE career. More has come out over the last few weeks that suggests that AJ Styles will be forced to wrap up if he doesn't choose to wrap up soon. The style that he works, what I've been told, and has always worked, is destroying his body. One of these things is that he has a habit of landing on his hip, Mick Foley style. Now ask Mick Foley how he feels in the morning when he can't put his own socks on, and you'll start to get a feel for how AJ Styles feels at the moment. The difficult period, and long term, it could get worse. AJ Styles, I think, will make the smart move, even though it's not necessarily a move that everyone's going to agree with. I think we need to get behind this, firmly get behind this, and support AJ Styles in whatever his next move is. We have a full-on troll here, guys, who clearly has not been in the channel before. Especially this week, where Dave Meltzer today confirmed about 15 pieces of news from me at Spoiler Warning. So everyone say hi to the troll. Your name is Wrestling is Fake. You literally exist to be a troll. Why would you be anything otherwise? It screams, I exist purely to get attention from people. So I'll give you a little bit, just to remind you that you are entirely pointless. And if you're so desperate for attention, clearly this is the most you're ever going to get. So everyone say hi to the troll, and then please say bye to the troll as well. Thank you, and goodbye. Jess, thank you kindly for becoming a channel member. Thank you for joining the crew, joining the group. You will find plenty of members-only videos that you can dive into. They will be expanding as time goes on as well, and I hope you enjoy that. Once we reach a certain level with members-only content and enough members, pardon me, we will be doing a few members-only Q&A live streams, so please look out for them as well. Marcel's watching from the start, fair enough, mate. Spider-Boss says, almost a year injured, it makes sense Tony Khan doesn't want to rush Mercedes Money's AEW in-ring debut. Mercedes Money also does not want to rush that debut. Michael says, you're free to do whatever you want with money that is donated to you. I'm aware, Michael, and I appreciate you backing me up on that one, but I want to be transparent about it. I don't want to be one of those people who say, yeah, give me all your money and then I'll do whatever I want. That's not who I am. Dylan says, I know it probably wouldn't happen given that Netflix officially starts next year in January, but I can see Netflix temporarily doing a second deal to air Raw for the last 2 months. Yeah, WWE have been trying to get that one over the line. They're oddly resistant to it. Spider-Boss says the first hour of Raw this week looks more as a tribute show to Cody Rhodes rather than having some wrestling. Yeah, but it was still a really good show. Kush doesn't want me to make him cry. Brad says, we're a family here. That's what makes Tom's channel and community the best. Thank you very much. Chris says, you know what Punk said about Hangman Page? Yeah, that's what the troll is. Aw. A lot of people saying hi troll and bye troll. Aled, given what I've just said, do you want AJ Styles to TNA? Steve said, would Styles be a fine manager or authority figure? Even if he can't work, I still see him doing stuff in the business. A lot of people say that, but one person who doesn't believe that is AJ Styles. Chris said AJ Styles is about to break us like Daniel Bryan did in 2016. I wouldn't go that far. He's still got some gas left in the tank, but not much. Joey says if AJ Styles did retire, would he still be a part of the WWE in a producer or coaching role? He could. WWE would be interested. I don't think he would. Spider-Boss says, I remember your reports about Bayley, and I remember you said Bayley will be facing Damage Control in one-on-one matches until she faces Dakota Kai. Yep, there is still a story to tell between Bayley and the rest of Damage Control. The draft may put an end to that sooner than we'd think, but I do think Dakota Kai versus Bayley is on the agenda. Kevin says, I don't mind if this is AJ Styles' last match versus Cody Rhodes. That's a good way to go. Sid says, did you like The Rock's promo on Raw? It was weird. And Chris says, backstage producing isn't for everyone. I think there's a lot of people. Triple H never did any production work because it was too close to the action. And if it gets close to the action and he can't jump back in and do it, he gets upset. Wants to say, Tom, for some reason, Brian Alvarez believes there might be heat with Britt Baker and Mercedes, hence why he believes Britt didn't return yet. That's not true, but I'll tell you more as we get to that. Tony Khan officially is in breach of GDPR, which is the confidentiality laws held up by the European Union. Now, the UK has technically left the European Union, but GDPR is still the governing body because the UK has decided not to get rid of all the laws that came in from Europe. They left Europe and then just didn't do anything about it. Anyway, as Tony Khan has used footage that was taken in the UK, he must store and use that footage in adherence with UK law. And as regards the confidentiality area, he has failed to do so. Any individual featuring in that recording, or in fact security from Wembley Stadium itself, could have a case to take action against Tony Khan. It's an interesting little thing. It's an interesting little tidbit. Nothing might come of it. But the GDPR rules are pretty clear. Or as clear as laws can be. Because God help it, if you ever read a law, they are terrible. Eric says, my picks for King of the Ring is Ludwig and Dakota Kai. Chris says, if you had a prediction, how long do you think AJ Styles has left? I think that's really dancing on someone's grave. Eric says, what are you drinking? Mountain Dew? Fanta. Jess says, CM Punk has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever. I think he might do just that. Sid says, I want to see a TNA version of Naomi in WWE as one of the top women in WWE. We'll see how that one goes. I don't fancy the chances, unfortunately. Mustafa says, I genuinely want you to do one episode that's literally full of disinformation on purpose, with warnings that it's all fake spoilers, just to see how many others source it anyway. And that would be funny. Spider-Bell says, I think Rhea Ripley outgrew the Judgment Day. Rhea doesn't need the Judgment Day. Rhea can be a tweener, depending on her rival. She already is a tweener. It's worth pointing out. And Chris says, CM Punk's lawyer did say there's a case. Bailey says, Tom is right. There are specific issues in GDPR which can be enforced about use of one's identity. Chris says Tony might get sued for the intent to slander. Alice says, my picks for King of the Ring is Dakota Kai, Tom Colohue, and Queen. Oh, I get to be the Queen. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. We currently have 102 people here and 76 likes. 4 more gets us to 80. 80 is a big number, guys. 80 is a huge number. Can we get to 80? 4 more. There is a bit of a backstage divide at present between Mercedes Money and the rest of the women's locker room. A large part of this does sort of build around the fact that she has a separate dressing room and the vast majority of women in AEW do not. This is something that she specifically asked for and was specifically granted by Tony Khan. So if the other women want it, they could potentially use what Mercedes Money has done as a negotiating strategy. This is an option, and this is something Mercedes Money is championing. I got what I wanted. I'll help you do the same. She's openly said that to people backstage. However, there is still an issue being raised, and it seems like the women are sort of being played off against each other a little bit because there is a double standard and there is preferential treatment. That is a concern that the women in AEW have. And when I say the women, I don't mean all of them. I mean that there is a small group of women in the locker room who are unhappy with their own situation and unhappy with the fact that Mercedes Money has shone a light on that situation. If they approach Mercedes, I'm sure she'll be helping them. As I say, she's actively said, I will help anyone who wants to get a better deal. But at this point, there are some backstage issues and a divide has been caused between them. Spider-Boss says, my concern about Cody's title reign is fans get tired of babyface champions really quickly. Happened with Kofi and Seth in 2019. Also happened with Bianca. Very true. Would happen with Daniel Bryan if not for the fact that he got injured. Chris says, my picks for Queen and King of the Ring are Bayley and Bobby Lashley. Dylan said, did you hear about the issues with Zelina Vega regarding her costumes and so forth? As KJ rightly points out, Zelina already shut them all down with receipts. Michael says, all women have to do is negotiate it. How can you be mad at someone else who did the same? Pardon me. They're people, and there is always room in every walk of life for a little bit of jealousy and a little bit of keeping up with the Joneses. This, unfortunately, wrestling is a bit of a right-wing practice, and it does tend to mean that people in that field are very conservative. They want what they want, and they don't want other people to want what they want. Jess says, the crowd has solidly been behind Cody for 2 years. I don't see that changing drastically anytime soon. It did in AEW. I need to address a report from Dave Meltzer as regards Stone Cold Steve Austin. Now, Dave Meltzer has said that Stone Cold Steve Austin wanted a lot of money in order to appear at WrestleMania, and because they weren't willing to give him that money, The Undertaker appeared instead. It's not true. Steve Austin turned down Triple H's offer because Austin, sources indicate, isn't particularly interested in anything to do with wrestling anymore. He saw WrestleMania 38, his sign-off main event of night one, as a solid sign-off, and he isn't interested in anything further. He has closed that book, he has wrapped that present, and he is done with the field. Meltzer's mention of money is simply not accurate. And there is one more thing I need to talk about, because I've seen so much on this. Will Ospreay cut a promo aimed directly at Triple H, a promo that had not been read to others when he made it, and a promo that certainly Renee Young was not aware of. made for a very awkward moment. I've seen a lot of reports saying it was his idea, a lot of reports saying it was Tony Khan's idea, a lot of reports saying that he was forced into it, a lot of reports saying that he'd come up with the idea and Tony Khan written it. There's all sorts of garbage going on around this. So I just want to make it really, really clear. Just really clear. Okay? Will Ospreay saw what Triple H said as a personal attack. He wanted to respond. He mentioned this to Tony Khan, who encouraged him to respond as hard as he possibly could. Tony Khan was fully aware of what the promo would entail. Renee Young was not. Or Renee Paquette, I believe I should say, was not. And this made for a very awkward moment after the promo when Renee Paquette walked away from Will Ospreay. It has soured things with Will Ospreay quite a bit, certainly among some people in the backstage area who are very big fans of Triple H, who believe that Will Ospreay shouldn't have responded. But the phrase shouldn't have responded fits pretty well with everything going on in AEW at the moment, after all. Dylan says, I could be wrong, but Brock Lesnar cleared his name. He didn't. In what way has he cleared his name? Like, a genuine question, Dylan. I have no idea what you're referring to. If there is something, let me know. Brock Lesnar has not in any way cleared his name. That's not what happened. Jess says, Meltzer pulling things out of thin air. Who could have seen this coming? Michael says, Meltzer is all about the money. Meltzer, of course, also pushed the narrative that Mercedes money was all about the money. Dylan, what's your source on the report that you heard suggesting he cleared his name? What's your source on it? Give me a source. Spider-Boss says, it's weird that we never hear the WWE Women's Division is jealous of the treatment that Becky and Charlotte get. All the women need to do is negotiate. Spider-Boss, it happens. You might not hear it, but it happens. There are definitely people in that locker room who look at the big names with jealousy. That happens. Alex says, Fightful selected the Young Bucks and Will Ospreay were fine with what happened with both their segments. They were. As I detailed there, what actually happened. Jess says, Will using the boss's daughter as an insult is so 2004. Dylan PWInsider definitely did not report that Brock Lesnar has cleared his name. Because Brock Lesnar has not cleared his name. There has been no clearing of any name. He wasn't named in the lawsuit. There's no name to clear. The other Mike says, everybody wants superstar treatment. Not everybody is superstar, though. Some men and women need to look in the mirror. You're not the guy, girl, and that's okay. Chris says, that's extremely disappointing to hear that about Stone Cold. You'd think he would have been interested, given his history with The Rock. Pretty lame to not do something cool for the fans. In his opinion, it was a false promise to the fans. In his opinion, it was saying to the fans, I'm going to get back in the ring with The Rock, when he had no intention of doing so. He didn't want to mislead fans. Sovic says it will backfire on him hard if he goes to WWE, which I doubt Ospreay would, but still, it wouldn't. Alex says, should we expect any more AEW releases soon? Soon, not necessarily, but there will be more. Michael says, quite honestly, when I saw the footage, my thought was, that's it. Same. CM Punk already told us exactly what happened. He was honest about the fact that he was a dick. And he was. Like, CM Punk is not the hero here. I just want to be very clear. Anyone who thinks CM Punk is a hero, ridiculous. Not even close to the fact. At least he's honest about the fact that he was the problem. Razar says, I didn't even think what Triple H said was about Will Ospreay. I thought it was just a general statement on free agents not picking WWE. As I mentioned, it could have meant quite a few people, and there are those who've suggested to me that he actually meant it towards Jay White. Spider-Boss says, the Triple H grinding the boss's daughter has been said on WWE TV before. Isn't so serious what Ospreay said about Triple H. Consent, not consent. If Triple H has been asked about comments like that, and he can ask Stephanie, would have been fine. Will Ospreay did not ask. Very different situation. It's like seeing someone in a beach and then seeing someone when you stand outside their window watching them get changed. It's a completely different situation. Thomas says, hi Tom, only just joining. Don't know if you agree with this whole situation is just a mess with AEW. From the ratings, was it really worth 100,000 more views? Personally, I would say no. As KJ rightly points out, they didn't get 100,000 more views. Jess says, Stone Cold doesn't know the fans anything at this stage. If he wants to stay on the farm with the cats and the chickens, then I completely understand. Sovic says, no one is a hero in Brawl In. There are a lot of not hero moments in AEW lately. Noob was underwhelmed about the Punk and Jack Perry footage on Wednesday. Jess says, Will heard Triple H talking about lazy wrestling and said, oi bruv, he's talking about me, innit? He's not lazy, like, let's not pretend otherwise, but I do think it was too much. Bismo says, hey Tom, just wanted to say thanks for what you do for us. For me personally, 2 days a week you help me cope with everything going on in my life with family sickness. I'm very happy to hear that, Bismo. Anything I can do to try and lighten the load on anybody's shoulders, I consider a massive victory. I hope you're okay, mate. Aled says, was Tony Schiavone's reaction a part of the story the books are telling? No. No, it's not. No. The other Mike says, somebody telling you to do something about it and you proceed to do something about it, that doesn't make you the villain either. CM Punk was the aggressor. He's owned up to that. Let's not call him a liar by hero worshipping him. Spider-Boss says Ronda Rousey entitled to her opinion, but she has talked on bad terms about WWE lately. Yep. A lot of people have. Chris says not owing anything to the fans doesn't mean you shouldn't do something cool for the fans. Once again, he viewed it as a promise that he would break. Dylan says at this point AEW is just on its last legs. It's not. I won't be surprised if they shut down by the end of the year. They won't be. AEW isn't anywhere near in trouble to the level that people think. A new TV deal will be announced shortly. It's not going to be the one that Tony Khan keeps talking about, because that's just imaginary. But it's still going to happen. Crush, I literally just said all this. Stone Cold Steve Austin was of the opinion that if he turned up at WrestleMania to fight off The Rock, he was making a promise to fans that in a future point, Stone Cold versus The Rock would be a wrestling match that they get. And he was never going to give them that. That's not vague. That's exactly what happened. Michael says TK really shouldn't have done the I was afraid for my life thing. He should have stayed backstage. He should have stayed backstage. Jess says AEW isn't dying until TK runs out of money, which isn't happening. Crush. Stone Cold Steve Austin had an opinion, and he's entitled to that. The Undertaker definitely isn't making a false promise because he went through the whole rigmarole of retiring. You know, you particularly, right now, you know that you would have been begging for Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Robin Dave, all the news, unfortunately, but you can always sit back and catch up. Good to see you, mate. Sovik says, I will expect AEW TV deal to be something like NXT got with CW. We'll see. Spider-Boss says, Tony Khan saying he feared for his life didn't make any sense after they aired the All In footage. And Hector says, Tom, are you saying we're not getting a Mark Calloway versus The Rock? My dreams are crushed. Sadly. Alex says, it's a random question, but do you know who Green Shirt Guy is? I do not. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. A to the K. Cody's next opponent will be announced next week's SmackDown. Stick around and you'll find out. Gold says, I want to ask you, did Dax Harwood turn his back on CM Punk? No. DM Punk says, you think Drew McIntyre will get his mum the title back at Clash of the Castle? Yes. Absolutely. We're going to wrap up now. It is 5 minutes past the hour. We've been live for 65 minutes. We peaked at 121 viewers, 77 likes, 469 views, which is nice, and a very good day overall. We will be back on Monday for more spoiler warning. Until then, as always, I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.